I, 27 female, and my husband, 27 male, just had an argument, if you could call it that. So my brother just got a job and it's great, except he was thrown into single fatherhood immediately after. He has a daughter, my niece, who is a few months old, and has no one to babysit her while he works as the mother suddenly isn't in the picture. He called me asking if I could watch the baby during the week while he works, only for a few weeks since he knows I'm a stay-at-home mom myself. I would have said yes, but I can't. I'm pregnant and have 2 young kids of my own, one of which does school from home and I have to do it with her. We're still getting the hang of it because we just moved. By the time I'd be prepared for that, he wouldn't need the help anymore. He understood and asked if I knew anyone who could help because he was out of people to ask and wanted to try and avoid daycares as he didn't trust them. He said he would pay and cover everything, but he just urgently needed someone and I said I'd ask around. I don't really have friends and I don't know many people in general as I'm very introverted, but my sister-in-law, 25, lives with us and was just telling me how she needed a job and money, so I proposed the idea to her. She immediately agreed, so I put her and my brother in a group chat and I brought my brother over to the house to talk face-to-face about it. Now, they're not strangers. Of course, they've met before and all, so it wasn't awkward. So they talked about the baby, what was needed, etc. My brother didn't have a long-term plan mapped out right then since everything was so abrupt, but my sister-in-law was understanding and said she'd be okay with whatever, and that was that. I'm not sure of other details as they text on their own and it isn't really my deal, it was up to them, but ultimately it came down to my brother Ubering my sister-in-law to his house early in the morning and then dropping her off at home and seeing how things go, which she agreed to. Everything seemed fine until the day when my husband came into our room and blindsided me with all these complaints on her behalf. He said my sister-in-law hadn't eaten since the morning, that she wasn't comfortable and she was tired, and that she didn't even need to be there because other people were home and could have watched the baby, and that they only gave her $100, etc. I was confused because I spoke to my sister-in-law while she was there to check on her and she said everything was fine. So I told him she didn't say any of those things to me, and I asked her and she said she wasn't complaining to him. I told him bluntly, "So she's not complaining, you're complaining for her?" And he said, "Yes." I told him I was confused because he was throwing it all at me as if it was my responsibility and that my sister-in-law and my brother were 2 adults who made their own deal that was up to her, and she agreed to it, nobody was forcing her. If she was uncomfortable, all she had to do was say it. He repeated the complaints and said, "Do I have to get involved?" I told him the deal doesn't involve him, or me for that matter, and I don't understand why he's the only one upset here when it has nothing to do with him. They're adults. He told me he can't even have a conversation with me and left the room. I'm genuinely confused. Am I missing something here? My sister-in-law is also confused as to why he even got worked up. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. I wish I could give you better advice besides telling him to mind his own beeswax. But that's all it is. If it's going to be an issue, the only people who are going to suffer are your brother, who can't work, and your sister, who needs money. I don't know what he wants you to do, girl, besides having him pay her an exorbitant amount of money to watch a baby. Or should he also pay for her to eat while he pays for her rides to and from, which, again, a normal employer wouldn't do? It seems like your husband will be unhappy either way unless your sister-in-law just quits, which seems like that's what he wants. Unless the sister-in-law is lying and really complained, it's like, what the heck, dude? I wonder what the chances are that your husband was planning to do a, "Since you're living with us, you can help with new nibbling for free," and your brother paying your sister-in-law throws a rather large wrench in your husband's plan. I'm cynical, so I'm probably jumping to a majorly wrong conclusion, but I just don't see any other reason for him to be sticking himself in the middle of 2 adults who have worked out a beneficial job and childcare situation between them and that benefits both sides of the family. Girl, take you and your baby and your sister-in-law and get you all some ice cream and go see a movie. Don't invite him. Sounds like he's just being difficult for the sake of being difficult. You don't need that stress. You just tried to help her, and if he can't see that, then that's on him. If he takes it up with your brother, then let him. I'm sorry you're married to an idiot. Update number 1. Am I the idiot for having an argument with my husband? Since I spoke with my sister-in-law and husband separately and got nowhere, I finally got the chance to sit them down together. I was calm and respectful the entire time. I flat out said, "Okay, so in regards to the babysitting gig, what's going on? What issues are there and where are they coming from?" My husband made a scoffing sound and looked annoyed but didn't speak up. So I asked my sister-in-law bluntly, "Do you have any complaints, concerns or problems with the arrangement you and my brother made for the babysitting? She said, "Absolutely not." I asked her, "Are you sure? Did you say anything to husband that says otherwise? It's completely fine if you did, but you have to speak up for yourself and talk about it, even to me, if not my brother." She said, "I honestly have no issues and I didn't complain to anybody, I swear." Then we looked at husband. She told him that she was fine with the arrangements and had no complaints, and then she asked him why he'd made a scene for no reason. He got defensive and said, "Nobody said you were complaining, it just doesn't make sense to me. There's no point in you doing it and it's not convenient. Are you even getting paid well?" I sat there trying to understand why he was getting so defensive, and my sister-in-law shot back at him, telling him it wasn't his business. It didn't have to make sense to him, echoing exactly what the heck I'd said in the first place, that it had nothing to do with him, and she didn't appreciate him doing this without a good reason. He said he does have a reason, and when we asked what the reason was, he said, "Because it doesn't make sense to me." I calmly asked him which part didn't make sense to him and why he was so bothered by it when it didn't affect his or our daily life in any way. It didn't have to make sense to him because it wasn't his arrangement, and he got angry. He stood up from his seat, rambling about how we were ganging up on him, that we weren't going to make him the bad guy, and that nobody listens. My sister-in-law and I just looked at him while he rambled. She was just as lost as me. I, still very calm, asked him what he wanted out of this and why he kept trying to involve himself when his sister-in-law clearly said she was happy with the agreement. He said, "Nobody uses their damn brain around here but me, I guess," and walked out. I don't know about you all, but I'm no butt kisser and I wasn't about to chase after him or baby him. He was being completely ridiculous in my opinion, so we let him go and that was that. About an hour later, he came back and started saying things under his breath like, "My own wife just let me walk out. She doesn't even care about me. It's just me. I guess I don't matter," while sighing and dragging it out. I ignored all of it because I had grown up, dude, and he came into the room and said, "So you have nothing to say to me?" And I was like, "Nope, we tried to address things, but you decided to storm off, so that's that. I think you're being dramatic and that's a you problem." He then called me inconsiderate and selfish and left. Welp, I don't know what I'm supposed to do here or what he's expecting. OP, he thinks your brother is taking advantage of his sister's kindness. He may not trust or like your brother. He says nobody uses their brain except him, yet he's the only one who can't verbalize whatever's happening in his head. Your husband needs a therapist so he can learn some different ways to progress towards his goals than tantrums and woe is me guilt trips. I have zero tolerance for grown damn men that throw temper tantrums. I think I know the issue. It's a social hierarchy ego thing. Your family now employs his family. I think he sees this as a ranking and his family is losing. If you imagine two kids at school and one's mom cleans the house of the other, the kid of the maid gets picked on for being lower by the other kids, that kind of dynamic. I want to be clear that it's not okay and 100% his ego issue, but I think that's what's going on. If he can't articulate it, it can't be a romantic situation. I'm also on Team OP of either use your big boy words or keep it to yourself. There's more to his behaviour. I'm now thoroughly invested in this dude's non-explanation. Update number 2. Am I the idiot for arguing with my husband? Hello once again. I know a lot of you wanted to know what happened. With all the support from you guys, I feel I do owe you that. Things have happened and I needed time to be alone, gather myself and process. My husband kept on with the attitude, the side comments under his breath, and just being weird. I gave no reactions and ignored it because I had better things to give my energy to, like my pregnancy and my 2 children. Anyway, I was cleaning and my husband confronted me and asked why I was acting this way. I asked him what he meant and he said I was being an idiot towards him, and I simply told him I wouldn't coddle him for an attitude that doesn't make sense for him to have. He got upset, rambling something about how, as his wife, it should matter to me that he's upset. I said I'd done nothing to him and I gave him chances to explain what was wrong, and he didn't, so it's not my responsibility to fix whatever it is. He said this was all my fault, and I asked him what was my fault. I've done nothing but take care of our kids and our home, as well as him. I told him that he made no sense, that nobody did anything to him, not me, not my brother, not sister-in-law, no one, that I wasn't going to deal with his attitude at all and that he could find somewhere else to stay if he wasn't going to cut it out. He sat down and said, "That's what I'm talking about," saying that my lack of giving a crap and my no-nonsense attitude were upsetting him. I asked him why I would want to put up with BS, especially while pregnant, and why would that bother him. He started all this drama over something that had nothing to do with him, and then it came. He took a deep breath and broke down with confession after confession. He admitted he had an affair, he admitted that he'd installed a camera in our home without telling me in hopes I'd do something stupid so he could use it as defense, and that he'd figured out the woman he cheated with knew my brother, which is why he freaked out about sister-in-law working for him. He admitted he started drama to create an argument on purpose to give him a reason to feel justified, and my calm reactions to everything made that impossible for him. It bothered him that I never did anything wrong because he'd done something wrong and couldn't shift the blame. I could barely react. I kind of just looked at him, my stomach was hurting, and I just couldn't wrap my brain around any of it. He told me he was sorry, that he's a piece of crap, and he doesn't know why he did it, that he loves me, tearing himself down, and I just told him to stop talking. I calmly said to remove whatever camera he installed and to find somewhere else to stay. He cried and begged, and I shut it down. He asked if I was going to tell my sister-in-law. You're worried about me telling people or what other people are going to think of you instead of worrying about the damn damage you've just done to our family. He left but wouldn't stop calling me, trying to talk. Suddenly he wants to have a conversation, huh? How funny. I put my phone on silent and went to play with my kids, trying to be normal and shield them from it. I didn't want them to see me upset. I was broken up on the inside, had a scare, I kept having sharp pain in my stomach. I was terrified. I thought I'd lost the baby. My family helped me out, I got to the hospital and the baby was okay. I guess it was just the stress being too much. After everything settled, I got home, put my kids to bed and cried it out. We've been together since we were like 15. I've never cheated on him ever. We're approaching 30. Like, what type of crap is that? I've never had a trust issue with him before. I'm not a phone snooper. I just don't do things like that, and I didn't have a reason to say he's never behaved like this before. Maybe he has cheated before and I just don't know about it. I don't even care to know. One time is enough for me. I want a divorce. I'll be fair about it. I will not turn our children against him and I won't drag it. But I'm done. Thanks for listening, guys. I'm so sorry, OP. You should tell your sister-in-law. She's been filmed without her permission for God knows how long while living with you guys. She absolutely deserves to know this. Get your ducks in a row. Start separating finances, get your important paperwork together, and consult a lawyer. You know what to do. There's a lot to prepare and you need to get started before the baby comes. Also, make sure someone is around to help after the baby comes because you cannot allow yourself to depend on the man who cheated on you and tried to make you the bad guy. Yeah, he wanted a reason to make you the villain so he could say, well, she acted like this or spoke to me like this. That's why I cheated, etc. I'd tell everyone and tell your brother about the skanky nose who was banging your husband. I'd block his number and use sister-in-law as a go-to when he can come and collect the kids for a visitation. I know it's hard, but don't take him back. This man tried to manipulate you into being the villain so it would justify his cheating with another woman. Stay strong, Mama. Your babies need you. Don't expect him to be fair. He will drag you down if he can. I, 20 female, love Dr. Pepper. I probably drink like a can a day, which I totally know isn't great, but I eat super healthy and go to the gym religiously, where this incident took place. My boyfriend, Charlie, 22, and I usually work out together. Yesterday evening, before going to the gym, I filled my water bottle with Dr. Pepper. I hadn't had one yet that day and was craving it bad. If I needed actual water at the gym, I was just planning on drinking from the water fountain so my boyfriend didn't have limited water because I wasn't bringing any extra. I made sure to tell Charlie this as he really doesn't like Dr. Pepper and I didn't want him drinking some from my water bottle. We sometimes take sips from each other's bottles. He just said, okay, no problem, and that he'd avoid my bottle. Fast forward to when we were wrapping up at the gym, Charlie had had an intense set and just grabbed the first bottle he saw, which happened to be mine. Before I could even look or react, he was spitting the Dr. Pepper out on the ground. He was spluttering angrily at me and told me it was such a stupid idea to put the Dr. Pepper in my bottle and that I should have yelled at him when he picked it up. I told him I was sorry that he had a mouthful of Dr. Pepper when he was so out of breath and wanted water, but that I didn't have any time to tell him because he was too quick, and I was focusing on counting my own sets. He wouldn't really take this as an answer and just stormed off, which was super embarrassing as I was the one who had to clean his mess up. By the time I ran out of the gym to catch up with him, he'd already messaged me that he'd left in an Uber. He's only sent me one text since yesterday saying that we'll talk about my Dr. Pepper thing later. I'm so confused and I just need to know if I was wrong. Not the idiot. It's your bottle. You should be able to put whatever you want in it. Your boyfriend knew it had Dr. P in it. You told him so. He's the one who grabbed it without thinking. He behaved like a 2-year-old. Since he spit the liquid out, he should have cleaned it up, not left it for you to do. Beyond that, he left without you, although I do assume since he took an Uber, he left you a vehicle. Now he's being all sulky and mad, just like a toddler. Tell him you'll put whatever you want in your water bottle, and if he doesn't want a surprise, to use his own. He's a grown man. He can surely figure out how to fill and carry his own water bottle or drink from the fountain. He has nothing to be mad about with you. He did this to himself. And he owes you an apology for his actions. He's such a drama queen. Like, who spits out a drink all over the floor? Can you not swallow it, especially something as average as Dr. Pepper? Zero manners or consideration for anyone besides himself, clearly. My partner hates soda, and if they unknowingly chug Dr. Pepper, it wouldn't shock me if they spit out some in shock, and then they clean it up. But he'd also have paid enough attention to hear me say that my water bottle was filled with his personal poison. LOL. OP, this is such an extreme reaction. I'd dump him and find someone with emotional intelligence.